And our next brave performer is Sean.
A lot of pages, sorry. Anxiety always seems to find its way in the day-to-day, hour-to-hour, and believe it or not, even moments of joy. The past has taught me not to trust people. They're unreliable and sometimes scary. Times of joy reminds me of risk and raises my spirits just high enough to fall, making me play it safe and closer to the ground. My brave is about understanding the past and accepting it for what it is. It's about allowing myself to be free from burden, understanding that it makes me who I am, and that's okay. I just sometimes get caught up with what has happened long ago. I'm a product of, a child of, a brother of, a friend of, a cousin of, and a coworker of, and one of, the less than exclusive groups of people working through addiction or mental health experiences. I'm also one of the people finding themselves teetering on the fence of blame and self-awareness based on firsthand experiences and how they impact my viewpoints of the world. When people mention mental health, it's often associated with a stereotypical identification of one's weakness or how one is broken. It's also associated with the character shortfalls of not being able to handle life or simply one's opinion of another person's inability to handle stressful situations. I'm here to tell you that is not the case. In fact, people living with depression, anxiety, addiction, or other mental health struggles are probably some of the strongest people I know. They may not show it or feel it even half of the time. How we react to situations can be a byproduct that leaches its way into our lives through victimization or something biological. Both typically go unchosen. Our feelings are often inconsistent or consistently negative, depending on the day or who you talk to. The juggling act becomes a way of figuring out our trigger points and how to face them under pressure. Unlike bruises of the skin or obvious tears in the eyes, you can't see pain behind a smile, especially when you bury your face in work or remain too busy to talk. Society has always taught me that men aren't supposed to be sad or talk about emotions. Luckily, I wasn't raised like that. My mom was a loving and caring mom and always taught us to be kind, to be kind and loving and most importantly, honest. Maybe I'm too honest and empathetic at times, maybe to a fault. I have, however, learned to smile hard, work even harder, also keeping myself too busy to feel. I want to challenge people. Imagine a world where you're reminded daily through physical experiences or bouts of being uncomfortable that you are broken. The world isn't the only thing that reminds you. You remind you, why can't I sit still? Why can't I stop thinking what happened yesterday? Is that person mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Family and friends remind you, stop picking your nails, stop biting your fingers. Why do you always go to the worst place? What is wrong with you? Coworkers remind you, are you upset today? You're really quiet. You haven't talked to me all day. All this only adds to the frustration you already beat yourself up over daily. Then the frustration turns to guilt, and guilt turns to shame, all because you keep putting yourself back to the moments when you felt most vulnerable. It hurt too much to feel that pain ever again, so you react. You push away, you avoid, you constantly wait for the rug to be pulled from under your feet. Cynicism comes to you at a cost, and the loved ones that don't understand why you're always waiting for that ball to drop. Perfectionism, reliability becomes your mantra, only so others know you have life and everything under control. Again, only adding to the pressures you already face. It's extremely hard to keep up with this expectation, even if your intentions are good. You grow tired and more stressed as you realize you cannot control all aspects of life, nor should you. Fear and anxiety only raises most when situations are stressful or when I think I'm the most vulnerable. Through counseling and self-help efforts, I'm able to identify where these feelings come from, and it's reliving vulnerability and responsibility from an early age. When times were tough, I had to be the protector of fear and the protector of uncertainty. There were times when I would stand in the doorway of my bedroom for hours, sometimes the entire night, to make sure everybody was okay. I learned early on scary things happen, mostly at night, and waking up to chaos was something that was expected. It wasn't all the time, but it was enough for me to remember and learn how it felt. It wasn't until I became an adult in a home that I created for myself that I realized it was okay to sleep a full night, even all the way through. Now that I'm older, I'm able to connect the lines between what is my responsibility and no longer my burden to carry. I'm able to see and empathize with the mistakes of the past, but most importantly, I've learned to forgive. I've also learned to love, live, and continue working towards being the best person I can be. I would like to share a story that I wrote titled The Door. These are my feelings about standing in my bedroom doorway most of the night while watching over my brother. It's also a story of how I forgive myself for taking time to watch over myself in the now and in the future. At night, I stood in the doorway making sure you stayed asleep while the chaos unfolded. I'd stand there for hours making sure nobody would come in and hurt us while listening to the cries. I'd stand there with my ear pressed to the crease of the door frame, praying the yelling would stop, but there was always a winner, and they were relentless. As the yelling continued, I'd glance over at you sleeping, happy to see that you didn't have a worry in the world. I was happy to take the pain if it meant you didn't have to suffer. When you'd wake, I'd tell you everything would be okay. You trusted in me, and it was important for me to know that. I didn't want you to ever worry like me. On occasion, I'd fling open the door in hopes of some of the attention being drawn to me. It did nothing. The sudden bright lights from the open door seemed to push out the tears I was able to hold back in the darkness. I'd turned to that door many times over, still never being heard. We're adults now. Everybody has their own memories and versions of what happened years ago. But for me, the smallest escalation brings me back to standing at that doorway to protect us. Although you may not have the same memories or experiences of those days, I'm grateful because that is exactly how I planned it. It was a little control that I had. Please forgive me when I'm hurt by the world. My experiences are different, and I stood in that doorway for all of us. Your world would have been different too had you witnessed some of what I have. It's taken me time to understand that healing has nothing to do with others and everything to do with me. It's time I allow myself to sit, maybe even sleep a full night, and I apologize for being selfish, but I need it now. My memories and experiences somehow bring me back to that helplessness and fear of standing in that doorway, even more so when the loved ones let me down. It's up to me to realize I have the power to change the future and continue working towards no longer letting that door hold me back. I take chances, believe in people, and realize life is wonderful and full of hope. I'm successful, I have a good job and good friends. I also kick open every door that closes in front of me, even if the light on the other side still burns my eyes.